Recent studies show that 1 in 2 men will get cancer in their lifetime. And prostate cancer is the second leading form of cancer in men, just second to skin cancers. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 worst foods for prostate cancer and why they actually grow these tumors instead.
You're watching the Dr. Jake Podcast.
I'm Dr. Jake. I'm an naturopathic medical doctor and integrative physician in Salt Lake City, Utah. On this channel, I share with you how you can heal your body and get your energy back without any harmful drugs or surgery. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. Okay, let's jump in. There are actually certain foods that are bad for prostate cancer. It is not true that the only thing that you need to do to remove cancer is to take chemotherapy or radiation. Diet is a very important piece to the puzzle of treating cancer. Now, I'm not necessarily anti-chemo radiation. There's definitely a place there. But to say that all you need to do is chemo and radiation and you're going to eliminate the cancer and you don't need to do anything with diet or whatever, it's just a crazy thought, really. It's like, okay, why did you get cancer in the first place? There's a reason. We need to make some changes. And diet and lifestyle are a big piece of making the changes so the cancer doesn't come back. But also you're going to respond much better to these type of treatments, the chemo radiation, when you are following the right diet. So diet is a huge thing. You need to not just do chemo radiation, you need to combine the diet with it. The 5 worst foods for prostate cancer is, 1 is fatty meats like pork. But it could be other meats like steak and chicken, etc. But I'm going to harp a little bit more on pork because it is a really fatty meat. It's really hard to get it non-fatty. It also is really dirty meat. You can't get it clean very well. I mean, you got to go to the special farmer to really get this. They usually are eating whatever trash that is given there. But let's harp a little bit. What's the problem with fat and prostate cancer? Is prostate cancer likes to metabolize fat. And the biggest problem of them all is the saturated fat. So if we look at the research of what will promote prostate cancer and what increases your risk of getting prostate cancer in the future, it is eating a lot of saturated fat. I know saturated fat is becoming this little awesome thing that we need to do all the time and eat a lot of it because really we need to just decrease the sugar and we need to eat more fat. We need to have a fine balance, and it really also just depends on the individual and what type of health condition they have and what disease they have. Every diet's a little bit different. I'm not an anti-fat guy for a lot of cancers, and even I'm not an anti-fat guy for a lot of other health conditions. But when we're talking specifically about prostate cancer, prostate cancer will grow with the more fat you eat, especially the more saturated fat that we eat. So we want to limit the fatty meats that we take into our bodies. So I am referring to the keto diet or other high-fat diets or paleo diet even too, because that's a high-meat diet. Now, I am not against these type of diets. Don't get me wrong. I do prescribe these for certain individuals, but we are focusing right now on prostate cancer. And if you do have a lot of prostate cancer risk, it's probably not a good idea to be eating a ketogenic diet. But if you don't have prostate cancer or have a lot of prostate cancer risk in your family, ketogenic diet can be really awesome, really great for you. It just depends on the certain individual. So that's what I want to say is every diet isn't perfect for each individual, and you need to get the right diet for you and what medical condition you have. The second worst food for prostate cancer is dairy products. People are probably not going to like hearing this, but again, let's talk about dairy products. Dairy products are high in saturated fat, so that's going to promote prostate cancer. So butter, cheese, cream, even raw milk, whole milk, all this. And what's interesting is with prostate cancer, I'm not a skim milk guy. I really am a promotion of a raw milk, whole fat type of milk. But if you have prostate cancer, that flips the switch. You really need, if you're going to have dairy, you are going to need to do a skim milk. But here's some reasons why I don't really even recommend a skim milk is milk is high in hormones, especially if you don't get a milk that is low in growth hormone or doesn't have growth hormone added to it. A lot of milk, that if you don't get it specially organic or whatever, will be high in growth factors and growth hormone, which will promote cancer. But also all milk is high in estrogen. Just think of it as a mommy cow. A mommy human also has high estrogen when they're breastfeeding. So when we drink that milk, we're going to be getting a lot of estrogen, which is going to promote prostate cancer. Oh, we think a lot about estrogen. Oh, that's a breast cancer thing. No, it's also high estrogen is correlated with prostate cancer also. It's not just testosterone. We harp a lot about testosterone. That's a big deal for prostate cancer, but estrogen is a big deal too. So there's a lot of reasons why we want to stay away from dairy in general. It's the saturated fat, it's the growth hormone, and the estrogen in there. And if you don't get it clean, it has all kinds of pesticides, herbicides, and all this type of stuff in there, which is going to be bad for cancer also. So sorry about those dairy lovers out there. If you do have prostate cancer, you need to stay away from the dairy. The third worst food for prostate cancer is refined sugar. Probably a lot of you have heard about this. There's a lot of other people talking about refined sugar. Probably if you're Googling out there, you're finding a lot of stuff. If I have cancer, I need to stay away from refined sugar. That's definitely true because a lot of cancers do depend a lot on sugar for the metabolism. Prostate cancer is a little bit different there. So it's going to feed off of the fat a little bit differently. So we don't want to harp on the sugar, but refined sugar, the problem with it is going to spike your blood sugar. So we think, spiked blood sugar is going to eat it. The cancer is going to eat it. Okay, yeah, it does do that a little bit, but the big thing with refined sugar and with prostate cancer is that it's very pro-inflammatory. Whenever you have a spike of your blood sugar, there's a lot of inflammatory cytokines that are going to go out there. The more inflamed we are, the more promoting it's going to be for cancer growth. So we want to limit refined sugar for that reason also. And not just because it spikes your blood sugar, but also it is inflammatory by nature. And when we're going after any cancer, including prostate cancer, we do want to decrease the inflammatory foods that we put into our diet. So refined sugar is not good for prostate cancer also. I wanted to put that in there because a lot of people might be hearing this and they're like, okay, great. I don't have to have my saturated fat, but I could at least eat a lot of sugar. That's great. That's going to be my saving grace. And that's just going to be wrong. Sorry to kind of hurt some people in that regard if they're thinking that way. We really need to limit our sugar too. Refined sugar is what I'm talking about. It's not like good sugars like from fruits or vegetables or from our starchy vegetables. The fourth worst food for prostate cancer is eggs. Why eggs? Like, why are we talking about all these great, healthy, nutritious foods, and now you're saying it's actually bad? So let's dive into that. For one, we're talking a lot about saturated fat. Eggs is high in saturated fat. Let's put that aside. We've already talked about that a lot. The big problem with eggs is choline. So choline doesn't promote all cancers, but it does promote prostate cancer. So that's the unfortunate thing. It's really great for your brain and making you remember things better and all that, but it's going to promote the prostate cancer. That's a really unfortunate thing of eggs. And we don't have any research on if it's you're getting an organic free range egg or you're just getting a really crappy egg that's in a cage type of egg. We don't have that research yet, and we might be able to see in the future that free range eggs are better, but right now we're not seeing that in the research, and we're seeing that choline and saturated fat does promote prostate cancer. So my recommendation for all my patients is that we really do need to limit eggs in our diet if you do have prostate cancer. I would recommend eating lower saturated fat foods for the rest of your life. Now, can you have some periodic eggs? Can you have some periodic fatty meats? Yeah, I do think that's totally fine, and you're not going to have a problem. But if you're actively treating it, I would be as strict as possible. But if we're in remission, you can have it periodically, but I still wouldn't eat a lot of these foods that we're talking about. So the last, or number 5 reason food that we want to limit in prostate cancer is unsaturated fats. Wait, that includes avocados. I thought that was the healthy fat, right? So this is the unfortunate thing. It's not just saturated fats. All fats in general will feed prostate cancer cells. So this is really sad that you even have to limit the really healthy fat that you love, the avocado, but we also limit the really healthy food, olive oil. But also even worse, and probably all of us already knowing this if you're actually listening to this channel, is we want to limit the canola oil, the safflower oil, the vegetable oils. These are all pro-inflammatory, always a problem. And it's even worse for prostate cancer. So we want to limit all those unsaturated fats because this type of cancer will feed off of that fat. So we want to limit all fats in our diet, even the good, healthy, unsaturated fats, unfortunately. So what we're seeing in the research when we look at, people that have a high saturated fat, high fat diet, or those that have a low fat diet, we're seeing that prostate cancer seems to be feeding off of fat for its fuel source. Unlike majority of other cancers out there that feed off of glucose, sugar for their fuel source, this type of cancer tends to fuel off of fat. Also, what makes all cancers grow is inflammation. And if you're eating a lot of saturated fat, especially poor quality saturated fat, it can be pro-inflammatory. So those are the two things that are really promoting the growth of prostate cancer is the inflammation and the fats. The foods that people can eat and the diet that they can follow when they have prostate cancer is to follow a vegan diet. So we want to limit all animal products in our diet, and we want to eat more plant-based foods. And we also don't want to be pounding the sugar. We already talked about that. So you want to eat a low refined sugar vegan diet. We want to follow a vegan diet that's low in all type of fats. No, you do want to eat some fats, but you're just going to eat low fat. You're not going to add fat to your diet. You're going to get it here and there. But that brings up a point too, is you don't want to eat a ton of nuts and seeds on the prostate cancer diet. Oh, I do recommend that with other cancer diets. But in this diet, yeah, we want to limit that piece of high in fat, right? It's high in those unsaturated fats that we're talking about. So you want to eat a low fat, low refined sugar vegan diet. If you want to learn more about prostate cancer or other diets related to cancer in general, click my video to the right. I'm Dr. Jake, and I'll see you there.